Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Black Hills IP webinar, Saving Time, Money, and Your Reputation Using Pair Status Change Alerts. A recording of this episode and the slides will be made available on our website. Feel free to enter any questions using the Q&A feature in the Zoom menu. We invite you to follow us on LinkedIn and visit the Black Hills IP website to learn about our other webinars. And with that, I'll turn things over to our speakers.
Hi there, I'm Tom Marlow, CTO here with Black Hills IP, and I'm joined today by Jim Hallenbeck. Sorry, Jim.
That's all right. I'm Jim Hallenbeck, and I've recently come over to Black Hills in the past couple months. I am the General Counsel and Executive Vice President of Sales here at Black Hills, and I'm glad to be here with Tom today.
All right, thanks, Jim. So let's jump into this webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about these pair status change alerts. These are an interesting tool that can be added to, say, a practitioner's repertoire. And part of it is because of kind of how they originate. So currently in private pair, which is a tool I'm sure many of us are familiar with, but those maybe that aren't, it's basically the login password protected, used to be protected by a encryption key type service that allows practitioners and law firms and paralegals and so on to have access to the non-public views of anything that's on their customer number. And with that, you get a little bit additional access than you might have seen, say, previously in regular public pair, which now you might find in Patent Center. There's some additional data that can be pulled out of this area as well, not just for the published stuff, but for the unpublished items as well. And what we're talking about is what we're calling patent status data. And like I said, these are available for any matter that's on a customer number. And the term status here is used a bit broadly. So this is not just is the matter pending, is the matter published, is the matter granted, etc. This is more of like a milestone status indicating events, a little bit more granular, that have occurred on a matter. And the real beauty here lies in the fact that these statuses typically precede mailing dates. And that's where a lot of the value of this type of a service comes out of. So in many cases, you get this like advanced notice of events. I mentioned that this is in private pair. That's what we have available currently, and we also have options for public-based updates that could be used, say, if you want to monitor a competitor or a licensee that you're not on a shared customer number with, or similar types of situations.
Joint ventures, joint development type things. Just to stay abreast of what's going on in a particular matter, whether it's a matter that you have an interest in ownership interest in, or an interest in from either a competitive or an adversarial perspective.
Yeah, so there can be a lot of interesting uses for these types of alerts. So these alerts are effectively a way to set up a triggered notification based on some of the matters that some of your matters, and receiving a particular update on their status change in pair with the USPTO. So by allotting this configurable basic logic to our users and to our customers, an alert can be set up to be delivered on when these things happen. This pair status data has been for a while now, kind of a little known secret that some practitioners have used to their advantage and to their advantage, to the advantage of their clients. It's a definite win for all those involved. And that's one of the reasons why we're especially excited to be able to offer this now as a product and technology service to all of our current and future customers.
So we'll answer most questions, at the end, but this question did come in that I think is timely right here, Tom.
Sure.
The question is if the notification service is able to monitor applications that are not published, for example, those having a non-publication request. So if you're accessing that information from if it's not your own application, the answer, of course, there I think will be no, because you won't have access to the data. But if you do have pair access to the matter, and because it's your own matter or you otherwise have access to it, then you would be able to get these alerts. It's not published yet, but the pair status alert, when it's updated to a status that you're looking for, will generate a notification.
Yeah, that's right. If it's on your customer number, visible through private pair, you can get access to it whether or not it's published.
Awesome. Thanks for the question.
So as far as what these alerts are and how they work in practice, we have them set up and configurable on our external facing, our customer facing pipeline portal. That's portal.blackhillsip.com. Now, you have to already be one of our customers or be working with us to be able to log in. So if you're interested, please reach out. Like I mentioned, they're user configurable. It is possible to set up more complex logic, and you can just work with us on how to set those up at the moment, as far as determining what it is that you're looking to get notifications on. When they're set up, they are ultimately delivered by an email or to a mobile device via SMS. And of course, all of these notifications get gathered within the portal, kind of in an email style inbox view for view later on or in bulk as needed. The tools that we have check for these status updates on a daily basis. So that the alerts that you're getting are always going to be up to date. So from here,
so there's many different use cases where these notifications, these pair status update notifications, can be implemented. I'll share a few of those with you now, but keep in mind that there's a pair status or a status of an application can mean different things to you or be interesting to you at different times based on whatever your particular needs are. And it can also be for managing or monitoring the matters that you're prosecuting, matters that you're managing in a law firm perspective of associates that you're overseeing or your colleagues or to others that you've assigned work. Also from a portfolio owner or a corporate perspective, if you want to keep an eye on what's going on, what outside counsel is doing. You may not, while you have oversight and you have visibility into all of your matters, if you have a lot of matters, it can be difficult to, wrap your arms around everything that's going on all the time in a few hundred matters. So you can set up pair alerts on different matters to, you can do it for all matters on your customer number. And if they reach a certain status, or there's one matter in particular that's of interest for licensing or sale, litigation, any number of reasons why you might be interested in a particular matter. And from an in-house perspective, you can set up these alerts to come into your inbox or your email inbox or send you text messages. For example, you may want to know, I'll go through a few examples here, but before I get too far in, I'll just start with the example that I have right here on the screen now. sometimes in prosecution, you'll get an ex parte quail action. And I always, have to look up, like, okay, remind me again what an ex parte quail action is. But yeah, I prosecuted patents for 20 years. So it's maybe it's just me, but I assume it's probably the same with a lot of people, where you get an ex parte quail action, you're like, okay, what is that again? Anyway, an ex parte quail action, it, just as a refresher, is a matter where a substantive prosecution is closed, but you still have some sort of formality that needs to be corrected, or minor thing. Maybe it's something with the drawings or your declaration or whatnot. But if substantive prosecution is closed, well, then you can't get an IDS considered, or you can't file, any new claims or claim amendments for whatever reason. And there may be other things that, that you want to file, or maybe you want to file an RCE. Well, to do that, you need to file an RCE. However, there is a status where certain types of actions will have a status that will say, like, for example, in this instance, ex parte quail action counted, not yet mailed. So that is noticed. When you get that notice, you can say, okay, this is about to be mailed. Once it gets a mailing date, I'm not going to be able to file anything substantive. So when you get that action, you can look up your matter and say, oh, wait a minute, I have an IDS I still need to file in this matter. I need to file this today before the office mails the ex parte quail action. Then you get your IDS in. It has to be considered on the record by the patent office, eliminating your need to file an RCE or rely on the mercy of the office to accept your Cupid's request.
And Jim, maybe you didn't have to deal with so many ex parte quail actions because your drafting was just such high quality that there were no formality issues.
That's probably why I always have to look up what an ex parte quail action is. Right. Yeah, my drafting and prosecution abilities were just too great to run into them enough to remember. Right. So yeah, I don't think that's true. Anyway, so another example is in advance notice of a rejection or allowance that's going to be mailed in a similar context. Actually, it'd be action counted, not yet mailed, would be the status update. And when that's found, you get your notification. Again, it allows you to file an IDS, or an action's coming in this matter, and it's a critical matter. So I need to see it right away so I can update the client. I can update my management team. I can allocate sufficient resources and time to handle this, critical matter. Or maybe I just want advance notice of what's coming into my inbox. Regardless, when an action comes in, some clients, maybe sometimes the smaller clients, need a little bit more attention. And if your team reports matters out promptly for a particular client, it can give you a heads up that, okay, when this matter goes out, that client's going to be calling me. So you can be proactive in reaching out to that client, or be ready when the client gets the report out of an office action received and it says final action, and it's perhaps an unsophisticated client, and they call you saying, what does this final mean? And so you're ready for those questions. So you can proactively prepare for what's coming. But you can also take these additional actions to avoid RCEs and late fees and so on. I do have one example. I think it's on a slide here, so I won't say it now. If not, I'll come back to it. Well, this is exactly the one I was thinking of. So in advance notice of an advisory action, what's interesting there is if you file a response by your 2-month date after an office action, it's a final office action, you file your response by the 2-month date. The period for reply without extension extends until the later of the 3-month date, or when you receive an advisory action. So if you don't receive an advisory action until after the 3-month date, the notification of an advisory action that's going to be coming before it's mailed to you can allow you to quickly file an RCE or an amendment or whatnot to either place the application and condition for allowance, or to file your RCE before any further extensions are due. Now, if that's a 1-month date, well, that's financially, that's not a big hit just pay 1 month extension. But when you start getting out to the 2 and 3 month extensions, it starts to get to be quite a bit. And so you can save significant amounts of money, and which maybe for a bigger client, it isn't as big a deal, but for the smaller clients, that can be an enormous deal.
Yeah, this is a popular notification.
It is. So you can point to your to your proactive management of your clients' matters to show how you're providing value by like saving them with specific extension fees. But then there's also the clients that say no extensions, never an extension, never an extension. Well, you can find out that an advisory action is coming before you would otherwise inevitably have to take an extension and violate their policy, the client's policy. So this is pretty useful right here. There is a question here. How much time do you normally get before the notice is actually mailed? Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it can be a couple. It just depends on which, if it comes in, if you see that update on a Friday, you're going to probably have the weekend. But you normally have at least a day.
Yeah, it's not a lot,
right?
But it's something.
Right. So when you get the notice, you do want to take action as quickly as you can and go from there. No, that's okay. Oops. I think I just skipped a slide. Fine, expiry quail, we did that one, and that's the one we just talked about. Okay, there we go. So critical matter management. So more sensitive cases can be monitored for positive and negative events in order to promptly notify your client or your management team. Early warning can provide you a chance to rectify issues that may exist. That might be, the IDS, but it could be anything. And anything that if you have an important matter, whether it's litigation related or
I could definitely see this being of particular use during a litigation, either for, let's say, a matter in reexamination, or a related matter, a pending matter that's related to one that's being asserted in litigation, where you get that notice ahead of time that there is something coming on it. Okay, there's been a rejection, there's been an allowance. These can be useful, especially like in a litigation setting where sometimes time is of the essence. If you've got trial going on or if there's motions being filed, knowing this can either help you determine what your timelines are going to look like, or help you, decide, okay, maybe we need to take a quick look at one of these arguments that we're making. Let's see what comes out of this rejection or allowance that might be coming down the line.
Another way that this can be useful too is if there's a matter that a client wants to know, the client cares about anything that happens with this matter for whatever reason, whether it's litigation or whatnot.
Sometimes maybe it's just vanity.
Sometimes it's vanity, or sometimes it's just an important application for a product. It has high visibility for whatever reason. Maybe the inventor is the CEO. Regardless, sometimes firms end up with a backlog in their docketing. Not our customers, of course, because we're doing things automated.
Right.
But if the docketing is backlogged a little bit, and the report outs, they may or may not be backlogged, or if the client's like checking pair, all the time to see what's going on in this particular matter, they may know what's going on before you even see it. So if you set up an alert to be notified of any time there's a status change in that matter, then you are able to, anticipate, okay, the client's going to be calling, or you call the client to let them know, like, hey, this is coming.
Yeah, it basically assures that you're the first to know when something happens, so that you don't get kind of caught in an awkward situation.
Exactly. So again, this is a similar theme to some of these other notices, but matter management and oversight. And you can use it to monitor outside counsel or people on your team so that you receive notice anytime somebody doesn't file within a shortened period of reply or a particular matter or all matters. And when you're talking patent term adjustment, especially if you're in a pharmaceutical type business where the long, the back end of your patent, those days and months mean considerable amounts of revenue.
I say days or dollars.
Days are dollars, right? So it allows you can use it to actively monitor your matters for impacts on patent term adjustment. Now, you won't be notified necessarily until after the status changes, so it might be too late, but it enables you to respond to your outside counsel or members on your team, like, hey, that extra day you took to respond to this matter, or that extra week took days off of our patent term adjustment. So if you're monitoring it, and if you're measuring it, and you're holding people responsible, you'll get less of it just from a natural human behavior a view. This enables you to do that. This is a tool to enable you to manage for the results that you want. Again, oversight within the law firm, notifications of extension, and so on, whether it be a client policy, firm performance metrics, or even just keeping track of when and who's incurring extension fees or whatnot. So some of these different examples, they kind of are very similar. If you have a particular example or a particular interest for a type of notification, or you're wondering if it's a notification that we can provide alert for, feel free to give us a call. You can email me or call me, or a simple address to send your question to is just info@blackhillsip.com. That's an easy one, or you'll see our email addresses at the end as well. So there's limitless opportunities for paired status change alerts. We can talk about it till until we're blue in the face, but really the only limit on what you can get alerts on is the limits of your own imagination. And so we'll start putting out information on different types of alerts and different use cases where it might be useful in your practice too, to enable you to visualize how these might be useful in your practice, and also some ideas on how you might be able to set these up yourself. So we do have a few slides here on how these are set up. It's fairly straightforward.
So we'll give you a quick view of what the system looks like now for how they're set up. And it will, one, show you what the system looks like, but also give you an idea of kind of the simplicity, what the data looks like in how these are set up. So it can maybe get your minds thinking about the types of things that you would like to monitor out there. So we have a portal for our customers. We call it the pipeline portal. And it houses docketing statistics, some prosecution tools, examiner analytics. But for this, we're going to be looking at the top item, which is our notification center. Within this notification center, you have the ability to create and manage alerts, if you can see up on the upper right-hand side of the screen.
Well, on that screen too, when new notifications pop up, they can be listed here on in a dashboard view as one option for presentation of your alerts.
Yeah, exactly. So here you would have, if we had any in this account, you would see them, kind of email inbox style. So here is once we have a view in the upper right with the ability to add a new alert and an existing alert with an edit, delete function to it.
This is the listing of configured alerts that have been set up.
Yeah,
not an alert message itself.
So in this account, we've got one alert configuration set up. So let's take a look at that one. And this is the configuration, not too many fields, pretty straightforward. So you get to give an alert a custom name. And basically, this is looking for the presence of an advisory action not counted. Or I'm sorry, advisory action counted, not yet mailed, meaning there's going to be an advisory action coming. And then we've got in bold, these are your filtering fields. So we can limit it to one application number, multiple application numbers, or just all the application numbers that are visible to the user in their private pair access. We can limit on attorney file number, so like a docket number that can be used as a limiting filter. Also, applicant name can be used in this manner as well, and customer number. So you've got multiple customer numbers that are associated with your pair account, and there's one in particular that you want to do this management on, or one in particular where you want to set up the alerts individually based on customer number. That all can be set up here. And then the fields not in bold below those filtering fields, email and phone are basically where do you want the notification to be sent? Where does this alert go?
But those aren't required because you can just have them viewed in the dashboard view.
Correct. You can populate one, you can populate both, or you can populate none. Regardless of what you fill in, the notification will always show up in the dashboard view. And then the last field, which is status, is basically what is going to be the trigger, the pair status terminology that the tool is going to be looking for in order to launch the alert.
Oops, did I skip one? There.
All right.
There.
And so speaking of that status, some of the examples, it's a drop-down list, so you don't need to know these things prior to setting them up. You just select what's available.
So where it says abandoned, there's several options for abandoned that include like a reason why they were abandoned, such as failure to respond to an office action is one of them.
Failure to pay a maintenance fee.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's
not maintenance fee because it's pending it. The failure to file the application fee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a few different abandoned statuses, the advisory action, one that we just took a look at, and then some of these others. But this gives you an idea of what may be available for setting up this alerting.
So there is one question, maybe this would be a good time to take this question if I can, there we go. So can you notify the client if no action has been mailed after 18 months of application filed, or a long time has gone by without an action being mailed?
Oh, kind of like a status update type
like
of thing.
A status update.
So this is the type of alert that is a little bit more logic than our user configuration has currently. But this is the type of thing that you would work with us to set up that logic on the back end so that you can get that type of an alert.
Certainly something that we could do. That's a good question. Certainly something that we could do for you. We'd need to talk with you about it to get it set up for you to make sure we understand all the use cases where you would want that to happen, but that can be done programmatically.
Yeah,
sure.
The biggest thing when we talk about that, what you can do with these alerts being somewhat limitless, is from as long as there's a way to logically define based on data that's available in pair, then we should be able to set up the alert.
Right, and I think that goes as similar with the second half of this question. Also, would the client receive a notification if there is an action expected letter in Patent Center for a certain matter? So I think that, again, that's a logic issue where if we can see a status change, we can trigger additional events.
Exactly.
But that is not something directly that's currently in the pair status alerts product, but
Well,
we can talk.
It's not
about
in the
that.
user configuration.
Not in the user
Right.
configuration, right? But there's things that we can do that trigger that.
Yeah.
So now how about security?
Yeah, this is always, we put this in here because anytime that we've got a tool, especially one that is available for the user to access on the web, security is an important thing to at least touch on. And I won't spend too much time here because it is a little bit of a dry area, but security is incredibly important in any of the products that we're doing, like I said, especially those that are web facing. As with any law firm or corporation, data security and compliance is what you would call an ongoing concern. So we are working constantly to stay ahead of the curve. We have a number of tools in place, multi-factor authentication, encryption of data in transit and storage, export control processes and restrictions, all of these things which we have to do really, whether or not we're talking about a web service or not, but that apply to the services that are offered through this as well.
So a common thing that comes up for us too are customer inquiries and addendums to contracts to comply with the various data privacy regulations around the world, whether that data is coming from, being sourced from the European Economic Area or even California. We're dealing with those issues every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have those concerns, just know that, you know, we've seen it, we can handle it, we work on it every day. So yeah. So while we have you on the call today, there's another product that we have. You may have seen a few emails from us on this about our Office Action Response Shell beta. We have a new product where we can generate Office Action Response shells in an automated way. And I just thought I'd take just a few minutes just to show you just a little bit about that, because we're still looking for participants in our beta program. Current customers we're able to set them up and get them going pretty quickly on this. But we can also work with companies and firms that are not current customers and get them set up. That just takes us a little bit longer to get set up, and but this can be available to you as well in beta if you're interested in taking a look at it and giving us some feedback. And at the same time, in exchange for participating in our beta, once we take this product out of beta, our beta participants, we're going to give you very favorable pricing on it. So because we do appreciate your open-mindedness and your contributions to helping us bring a useful product to market. So, but our Office Action Response Shell product is an automated product that generates Office Action Response shells to enable you to respond to Office actions, including your claims in the currently pending form, whether that be as originally filed or as amended in the last Office Action Response, and include the different sections, headers, and a template to put your arguments into from or to respond to the outstanding Office action. So we can show you a little bit of information on this, or a little bit of a view on this. You again come into our pipeline portal that we showed you before, and you'll see here on the left, it says Power Prosecutor. You can select that to get into this view that you're seeing on the screen now. And this is an example of an, oh, there we go.
Yep, that's the view.
Okay, here's the view. Once you click on that Power Prosecutor, then you get this this listing of Office Action Response shells that you've previously generated, and you can select one of those to view that, or you can click on the top right where it says New Shell and create a new shell. And once you select New Shell, it'll provide you an interface to identify the matter that you want a shell for, and you'll end up with a shell that looks kind of like this inside the product. This is the online tool. You'll see your header information, and over on the right, you'll see your office action. You can view that as the PDF, or you can view it as text. You can also select the different headers on the right to view the claims in their previously pending form, and a few other things. And I'll just scroll through here quickly. There's on the right, you'll see the office action, or I'm sorry, no, that's the claims. That's the claims as previously pending. And this is a copy of the document that's from PAIR of the claims as you filed them in your last office action response. And over on the left, you'll see the claims as they're currently pending. Of particular note on the left, you'll see that there was an amendment made, and the claim status identifier was automatically updated to say currently amended because there was a change made in the claims. So using this tool, you no longer need to update the claim status identifiers. And at the same time, in that first paragraph of your office action response, it updates the that first paragraph, or here it's the second paragraph, I guess, that says which claims have been amended, deleted, added, and which claims remain pending. So that's pretty useful there, and it's done automatically. And these different sections here for the 112 and the 103 rejections, those are automatically generated based on our intelligent processing that Tom's team has been able to develop to generate this text to put in the office action. So, or in the office action response. But every attorney that I've worked with has a Word document that sits on their computer, and when they go to respond to a 103 rejection, they copy a paragraph for their 103 rejection, or whatever form of argument they want to make, whether it's a teaching away or the combination of references fails to teach or suggest all of the claim elements. You copy the right one, or if it's a 112, the different flavors of the 112, you copy the right template argument for that and paste it into your office action. Well, you can take that same boilerplate language out of your template, you can put it into our tool here on the right side, and by clicking the new button, you put it in there. So every time you pull up your office action response template in here, or office action response shell that's generated automatically, and then you can just select the boilerplate language that you want, your own boilerplate library stored here, readily accessible, no switching between documents.
Click to add.
Click to add. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. So then when you're done, you can edit, you can develop your entire office action response, formulate your entire office action response inside our Power Prosecutor product, or you can just put your template together, or you can put your shell together with your template arguments, paste it in there and whatnot, download it, work on it in Word. Regardless of if you generate it here and download it when you're done, or work on it on your own computer, then you follow your normal process for preparing and filing your office action responses. All ready to go, piece of cake. And the idea of a tool like this is to enable you to generate documents quicker, with more readily accessible language, and generate them in a very consistent form. One question might be, well, how does it know how I want my office action response shell? I do them different than everybody else, and for whatever reason that might be. Well, you can configure it exactly how you want it. And what you do, the way it's working right now is, if you want to participate in the beta program, you send us a sample of an office action response shell of your own, either you're generating yourself or your paralegal or whatever source you have for your office action response shells. Send us that, and we can configure our system to generate your shells just how you like them. So let's see, there's a question here. When amending the claims, does this system automatically accept previous amendments and update the status for new amendments? So I think I understand the question, and the answer is yes. There's does the system automatically accept previous amendments? So the amendments that would be made would be like in your last office action response. And it would eliminate the underlines and things that were deleted. It would just pull them out
Yeah, because it pulls the current claim set from
pair.
from pair.
Yep.
And then populates it into here. So
It
any
does.
of those previous amendments that
Yep.
were accepted are now in that current claim set.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So just so you know, what we do is we do get the claim language, the pending claim language from pair. And many people don't even know that that data is available in pair. We get the currently pending claims from pair, but we also want to make sure that the patent office has the claims in the form that we intend them to be in. So we take that last office action response you filed, and we process that and do an OCR. That OCR text is then compared with the language that the patent office has to verify that the claims at the patent office are in the form as expected. So a benefit of that is that you're able to verify that the patent office does have the claims in the form that you want them in. So when it comes time to publication, any ambiguities or lack of clarity that might be present in the record, you can resolve it before either publication or at least before the patent issues.
Mm-hmm.
With, part of the goal, part of the benefit being fewer certificates of correction
Mhm.
to fix patent office errors. So let's see, is there another question? I don't think so. Okay, all right, that's good.
The other thing that I like about this is the generation of these shells happens effectively immediately as the office action becomes electronically available. So there's no waiting. So if the office action comes out and you are ready to work on it that day, the shell is available for you that minute.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as you know that there's an office action issued or mailed to you, well, mailed or don't what they call it? They still call it mailed.
Still mailed, yeah.
Yeah, still mailed. But as soon as you find out about it, you can go into the tool and you can have a shell.
Yeah.
So there's two ways that these can be delivered, though, these shells. Okay, so the first way is I've just showed you is the Power Prosecutor tool that you access online. The other way is to have the shells automatically delivered to you. The shells are it's an automated process that generates the shells, and that automated process can deliver those shells to you either in an email inbox, or we're working on a shared drive solution as well.
Yeah.
So we can get these shells to you. So if you like to have these shells delivered to you, ready to go in whatever location, we can do that. That's probably more conventional to where a more conventional mode of delivery. It would match maybe your existing practices a bit more. Or we can give you access to the Power Prosecutor tool. Or depending on how you want to work, maybe some attorneys in your firm want to work one way and other attorneys want to work another way. We can work out hybrid solutions as well. But anyway, that's the product. It's in beta. If you're interested, you can email beta signup at blackhillsip.com, or you can email me. Or again, a simple address for us is info@blackhillsip.com. There is another question. Can this shell put in sample court cases responding to particular rejections? Well, that's a good question, because Tom and I just happen to be having a conversation about that over lunch today. So right
I love
now,
this question.
yeah, Tom loves this question, right? Yeah, Tom wrote a book, by the way, that would enable you to quickly work through the case law to identify which cases you might want to cite and whatnot, but
Yeah,
available on Amazon.com.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
U.S. Patent Prosecutor's Desk Reference, highly recommended. Obviously, I'm not biased.
5 stars.
That would do that. So we are not configured yet to tie these in, but it is one of the areas that we're looking at.
So but I also have something to share on this okay, so in this screen here, this is a good question, because in this screen here, So one of the things we're working on, and this is coming very soon, like November 1st, I think is our target date, not necessarily in the beta yet, but in our pipeline portal, we have this set of 100 or more checklists for the various tasks that you can do or that you perform as patent attorneys. And that might be responding to an office action, responding to a final office action, responding to an advisory action, preparing and filing an appeal brief. Checklists of the different tasks or different considerations. So you go through the checklist to make sure that you at least considered all these different things. And those might be from, they're from many years of practice. There's legal considerations, there's pragmatic considerations, a lot of different things in these checklists. They're very well developed. Those are going to be available in our pipeline portal approximately November 1st. At the same time, in the screen now that I'm sharing with you, that's a new question there. In this screen that I'm sharing with you now, you'll see the different, on the right side, you'll see the different tabs at the top. It says PTO action claims, boilerplate, file history. One of the next things that we're talking about adding and working on adding is another tab on there that says checklist, and populating that with a checklist that's relevant to the particular document that you're working on preparing. And at the same time, if we were to email these, as though your mode of delivery is a shared folder or an email, putting together a package of documents with that office action response shell that includes the same things that you see here on the right. The PTO action, that would be your office action, the claims. Probably wouldn't include the boilerplate library in there. That wouldn't make sense. Parts of the file history, which are also accessible there on the right. And so, yeah, and putting those in there. So, I think there's another question that might be relevant to this. What about automatically downloaded the cited documents? Yes. Actually, I think we are already accumulating those documents. We just haven't implemented it yet, but that is something that we're talking about too, or working on, actively working on.
Yeah, like we mentioned, this is a beta project at the moment. So all of this feedback is great. If you get involved, you get to help kind of shape it.
And build the product, help build the product that you want to use.
Practice. Yeah, exactly. So to answer this, we do have the full file history. So things like, well, if it's private based, we could be able to show non-patent literature. But things like cited patents and patent application publications could be visible as well, but we don't have them linked in yet. So the data's there, but that is a good like development pipeline item that we should have on the list, is getting that able to kind of be click to see. In fact, I'm certain it's actually in the pipeline, because that's as a practitioner, I would need to see that.
Yeah. So that type of thing is coming. Let's see. Okay, there's just a suggestion on using eSpaceNet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. We answered that live. Okay, so there's another question here. We don't use the Black Hills portal, Black Hills dockets directly into our IP. How would we use the tools you're describing? Okay, so here, where's my notebook here? I'm gonna write down your name and hey, can you
the quick answer to this is that this portal is not meant to replace your docketing system. It's meant to be a supplement should you want to use it. So if we're working on your docket right now and you're a customer of ours in Foundation IP, that's great. That means you're set up for us to be able to pull all the data that's needed to do this, and we'd get you access into this into the portal, and it would be I guess a supplement to the rest of your experience.
It would. And so as the response shell beta which we're calling Power Prosecutor, we can generally provide that to people who are willing to participate in the beta. The Para Alerts, we are moving that out as it's available to people who are already Black Hills IP customers, probably within the package of services that you already have from us. If you don't have those services from us, we can, like our traditional docketing service that we have. If you don't have that and you're interested in Para Alerts, just reach out and we can be in contact with you about that. You are able to get that service separately. It takes just a little bit more to set up for you because we don't already have all the data for you, but it's fairly straightforward, and the pricing on that is very aggressive right now. It is not like a sale. So like right now, I didn't mean to say like call now, right? But it is very beneficial pricing for you, and we can do the pricing on that differently based on what your needs are, and we can talk about that. So reach out either to your your Black Hills sales representative to get that set up, or reach out to me, or just send an email to the general number and we can get you going pretty easily. So there's another question. Let's see, will the downloaded references be in the form that they will be to them back to the USPTO system?
So yeah, this is about if the references are downloadable from the system, or if they are automatically downloaded from the system, will they be in a format that'll allow for them to be filed back with the PTO as needed, without running into some of the errors that can occur from time to time when trying to submit PDFs. And the answer is likely they will be fine because they're coming out of the patent office, although we will certainly be testing to make sure that is the case.
Okay, let's see, there's one more question. So, okay, there's a question if this is a service the USPTO facilitates. So that's a little bit of a detailed answer on that. Go ahead.
I can answer that at a high level. So the way that we get the majority of the information for this is out of private pair. So it requires that paralegal staff on our team are sponsored by a practitioner, so we can have access to that information, and that allows us to go in and get this data. It comes from the USPTO because obviously that's where the data originates from, based on that sponsorship.
And at the same time, that sponsorship can be revoked.
Of course.
So it's the customer retains control over that access. So if they want to discontinue our services, that would be something to remember too, but also customers in control.
Exactly.
So I think we are at the end of our slides. If there's any more questions, if you want to see any of these products in a specific demo just for you, feel free to reach out. We can show you this and answer your question specifically, whether it's on the phone, in a webinar, or not webinar, but web meeting or whatnot. But you need not be a docketing customer to utilize our response shell service or Power Prosecutor or even the Para Alerts. So these might be interesting to you in your practice. We want to learn from you on how you use Para Alerts too, because like we said, it's limitless on the things that you can do with this. And there's also other data that we've talked about bringing into this, maybe even assignment data or whatnot, to start being able to provide other types of notifications. So we have a lot going on at Black Hills, and new product development and new ways that we're bundling our products together to provide them in ways that are useful to you. Maybe you are comfortable with your docketing in how you do it now, but yet there's some of these other services that we provide that you would be interested in, well, we are able to provide all of our services in virtually any different form or combination that you might be interested in. And certain, groups of these products are available for, as a group. So, so that's what we have today. If you have any more questions, feel free to type them in now, and we can go from there. Otherwise, we can call it a day. All right. So just so you know, Tom and I are actually at the AIPLA meeting. We're doing this webinar from a hotel room on site of the AIPLA, live from AIPLA. So if anybody that's still on is interested in talking to us in person, feel free to stop by our booth. It's near the little coffee kiosk where the meeting rooms are. Otherwise, you just keep an eye out for us. I don't have my name tag yet because I didn't check in yet, but Tom has his. Or stop by the booth and check out our new bobblehead that we just released. So you can stop by and check that out and pick one up and say hi to everybody. So, all right. Well, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. This was great. Thanks everybody for attending. Looking forward to talking with and working with some of you.
Fantastic. Have a good day, everybody.